So my path to the NFL was much different than everyone else's. Um, COVID-19 obviously had an impact on everyone, but probably a different impact on me than you would expect. So we finished the season. I'm like, all right, man, I'm good. I'm tired. Football's been great, but I gotta hang up my cleats. So I'm going to banquet and Coach Moorhead. He's the wide receiver coach with the Eagles now. He's my wide receiver coach. He's like, man, just keep going, like keep trying. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, man. Like this is daunting. This whole draft process, getting ready for the combine. People always say it's their best time. I'm like, man, I'm just trying to play ball. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hang them up. But I didn't make that choice initially, so I'm training for the first 3-4 weeks. I went to Guatemala, bienvenidos. Went to Guatemala.
I remember that.
And work on my Spanish, and I went and worked on a cattle farm in Texas, like in the middle of nowhere. And so like throughout this whole time, I'm still training, and I get back and I'm home in Sacramento with my best friend Edward, and we're at the gym, and I'm lifting. He was like, "Bro, something's wrong." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, like you're just not in it." Like, you're right. He's like, you want to go play basketball? I was like, yeah, let's go play basketball. And I quit. I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not training for football. So for about 4 months, I didn't really work out. Besides playing basketball and like going in and hitting the aesthetic muscles like the biceps and the shoulders and stuff. So I didn't really work out. And the week of pro day, I was getting calls from teams like, hey, Justice, like, we haven't seen anything about you. Like, what are you doing? And I just ignored the calls. I still got their voicemails and stuff. And this coach called me, and I was like, I need to be forthcoming with these coaches and be honest. And I think it was like Bob Scooter or something like that from the Jets called me, and he was like, hey, Justice, like, I want you to come to this meeting with me, prior on a day of pro day or the day before, and let's go over film. And I was like, hey, coach, like, honestly, I made a decision. I'm going to go work on Wall Street and just go do that and, be a normal guy. And that whole week, there was, speculation that pro day might be canceled. Like March 14th was like the turning point for like COVID, like, COVID's first case and here. And I think it was in March, whatever. And that week, I was like, all right, at least I'll, maybe just go catch balls for pro day. We don't have a lot of receivers out there, and so Riley needs somebody to throw to. And I get a text that says pro day is canceled. So I'm like, honestly, that works in my favor. Like, I'm not even cool. I don't even got to go out there and catch balls. So now I don't even have to look back at it and be like, I didn't give it all I got. Like, I didn't finish. Yeah. And then this guy Mo invites me to come and throw with him with a couple other buddies. And at that time, my buddy was out with me, and at that point, Edward, who I originally quit with, and we're just chilling, doing what people in Nashville should be doing. And we're throwing, and I'm like, wow, like this game is so much fun. Yeah. This is literally the day of pro day, and I'm like, I should play. So that next day, I made that decision to start playing again. So it was. But here's the thing. For when I didn't work out, so I was 190 pounds. I didn't work out. I got down to 165. So this whole time, coaches were calling me, trying to check in. Hey, like, what's your weight? Where are you at? Da-da-da. And this is why I wasn't answering the phone in the first place. Besides the fact I wasn't playing. So, like, that next week, coaches were all checking in. Like, hey, I know pro day's canceled, but we're going to, have you send virtual film and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I didn't say this, but I'm like, I'm not sending any film of me. Like, I'm 165 pounds. I don't even know what speed training looks like anymore. First time I caught a ball was on Sunday with my homie. Like, if these guys try to bring me in, it's bad. Yeah. Fortunately and unfortunately, COVID kept getting worse. So they couldn't bring me in for virtual workouts. They couldn't bring me in, or not for virtual, for workouts. They couldn't bring me in for interviews. Nothing. They didn't even know what I looked like. And I look completely different. Like, I could have walked, anywhere, and you would think, like, this dude is a scrawny little dude that doesn't even work out. Just some regular dude. Draft day comes around. It's the draft week. I had just hired an agent the week before, and I'm still kind of up in there. Like, I want to play football, but I low-key made a commitment to my company to come back. So I was working at Goldman Sachs, I guess. And I'm calling people. I'm like, man, maybe I should play football. Maybe I shouldn't. And man, I end up texting some Reese Jones-Drews is a big guy in my life. He's the original guy that helped me make a decision on college when I chose to go to Harvard over Cal, Duke, Utah, and all those Pac-12 schools. I think they're great. Right. And then like USC, and then well, I didn't get off from there. I would have went there though.
Fight on.
Disclaimer. But yeah, man. And he was like, man, just go play like football. Football is your passion, and work will always be there. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And this is literally like 2 days before the draft started. That I was like, officially like, all right, I'm gonna play. But I still didn't tell my company because teams just tell you stuff. And then, man, kid you not, last day of the draft, halfway through the last round, I get a call. My agent's like, you ready? I'm like, for what? I'm like, it was like, we got an offer. I'm like, from who? He's like, the Chiefs. I said, stop playing. He was like, no, the Chiefs. I'm like, should we do it? And he's like, yeah, I would do it.
Like, yes.
Yeah, like this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, shoot, let's do it. And called the scout for the Chiefs, and he was like, yeah, man, we're excited about you, man. But what I learned though when I got there was I was literally the last person in the door. And what's cool is I was the last one out, legit, especially after they had to make cuts prior to even training camp starting, then cuts throughout training camp. The team, I remember Clyde telling me like, man, Coach Dillon just told me like, whoever's here is here. He literally told me that. I'm sitting right next to him. He was like, man, yeah. Coach Dillon was like, man, because we were hurting. Like everyone's getting cut. Like these are our homies. Yeah. And he had came back, man, from a meeting. I'm just chilling. And Clyde was like, man, whoever's here is here. Like these are the guys on the team. Like, you ain't got to worry about it. And I'm doing the numbers. I'm like, at least 2-3 more guys got to go. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I know who's gonna go. Or at least it's cut. The rest of the guys are coming back on the practice squad. And I'm like, cool, I'm good. And I got that text, 5 a.m. text, like, hey, bring your iPad and everything, bring your parking pass and everything else. Management wants to see you.
Damn. You already know what it is.
Oh yeah, everyone knew it was coming. Yeah. But what's funny is, after that, you get the practice squad callbacks the next day, so they got to clear waivers, and then if another team picks you up, you're good. You're on their 53 man. Otherwise, you can come back to practice squad. So the next day, I wake up, I'm like, cool, like, man, like Coach Tobes talking about me in the papers. There's stuff coming out about me, like even being on the 53 man rosters. I thought I was gonna make the 53 man. Yeah. Being the starting punt returner, kick returner, and then filling in where I need it. So there's stuff coming out about that. That's why you don't read your own press. And then I'm hearing coaches talking about, man, like, good, we got you here. Like, we didn't know you had what you had, and then we got a gym. I'm like, at least I'm coming back to the practice squad. I get a text from my buddy Elijah. He's like, hey, I just got the call. They call me back. They called me back to the office to sign my practice squad contract. I was like, cool. All right, K's back. I got another call from Jordan Temu, who's at Ole Miss, who's the Chiefs and the Texans. And I think he's back with the Chiefs. And he was like, yeah, bro, I got the text. I'm coming back. Cool. So I'm like, I called my boy Tommy, and Tommy's like, bro, you're good. He's a punter. He's like, bro, you're good. Like, don't worry about it. And he wanted me. Yeah, we're supposed to room together, so I was supposed to get a place with him. So we were supposed to, go in on a place. Yeah. And never got that text. Never got that call, and I was fishing the whole time. Just fishing until I got that call, and then I got the last call, and they're like, hey, look, man, we're just going a different direction. What's your flight information? And now I'm back on the pod.
Now you're on momentum.